Okay, so I'm Dr. Soon Yee. I'll be hosting this product segment. Okay, yeah, you can interact with me in the chat box. I'm very happy. Actually, today's session is very simple. Okay, so I want to do a question and answer. Okay, question and answer. You all ready? Yeah, to test your knowledge, whether you know, pay attention or not during your biology class. Okay, no lah, it's a health class, right? Okay, so you can have normal blood sugar, but your body is developing insulin resistance. You think it's a yes or no? Yeah, can interact with me in the chat box. Okay. Yes, I saw answer already. Yes. Wow, wow. Actually, you're very smart, yeah. Very smart. Okay, so yes, correct. The answer is yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. Okay, you might be normal, in your blood sugar, but actually, right, something is already happening inside your body, and that we call insulin resistance. I will tell you more about that. Okay, then question number two is insulin resistance can develop years before type 2 diabetes is diagnosed. Okay, yes or no? Wow. Okay, also yes, Sure or not? Usually Q&A cannot be two same answer one. Yeah, you're very smart. Okay, also yes. Okay, so actually today, right, I feel like this thing is quite important. It's called insulin resistant. How many of you heard this word? Insulin resistant before you come into new skin. Okay, how many of you heard this word? Insulin resistance. You like green. Who like green? Oh, Renee like green. Yeah. Actually, insulin resistance, right? A lot of people don't know. A lot of people know what is diabetes, but they actually don't know, right, what is insulin resistant. So a little bit to let you understand about insulin resistance. You imagine, right, insulin is a hormone in our body that regulate our blood sugar. So this hormone, for it to work, it need the cell to respond. So insulin is like a key, try to open the cell so that whatever carbohydrate or sugar that you take in, right, the cell can go into the cell after the key is open the cell. So it maintain your body at a steady sugar level, okay, not spike up and so on. Yeah. So what happened in insulin resistance is that the cell, the lock is rusted. Yeah, it's rusted or the key is rusted, either one. So the cell is not responding to insulin to open the door for the sugar to come in. Yeah, so when people has insulin resistance, right, they tend to also have a poor sugar control, and they have a what we call the predisposal to diabetes. Yeah. So this is what happened in insulin resistance, the cycle. When you eat the food, okay, your body make insulin, but the cell resists insulin. It does not respond, does not open the door. And what happened to the sugar? The sugar will float in your bloodstream, and it tend to be stored as fat. Yeah. And because of that, you have low sugar, low energy, but you are gaining fat or gaining weight, and you tend to feel tired and hungry even after you eat. Yeah, and tend to eat more, and the cycle continues. Yeah. Okay, so there are actually a few physical signs that can suggest someone has insulin resistance one. Yeah. If you know, right, number one is visceral fat. Okay, but from what we see from the outside, a person who is gaining visceral fat is someone who is gaining weight, and more specifically gaining waist circumference. Yeah, for Asian male, more than 90 cm is dangerous. For Asian female, is more than 80 cm. And this might suggest that this person has insulin resistance. Yeah, highly suggested. That's why your Omron is very useful. You must put your Omron into good use. Okay, number two is skin changes. Okay, have you seen people who has darken, thicken, and also velvety patch around the neck, fold, armpit, around the groin and elbow? Actually, medically, these are called acanthosis nigricans. Yeah, nigricans mean dark. Acanthosis is the skin changes. So darkened skin changes. Yeah, and it look like this. Actually, this one is very strongly correlated with insulin resistance. Yeah. So if you have seen people with this and they say, oh, I'm okay, it better ask your friend or your family, go and have a check. Okay, check whether they have insulin resistance or not. Later I will tell you what to do. Okay. And number three, this person, right, might have features of metabolic syndrome like high blood pressure, uncontrolled blood sugar, abnormal fasting cholesterol profile, fatty liver, and for female, right, the lady might have PCOS, or now the actually newly termed PMOS. Okay, because expert, right, the ONG expert, they found that PCOS actually is metabolically related. It's not just ovarian problem. So this new term, it has been termed polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome. So if someone has this, right, and he or she might also has insulin resistance, so better check. Okay. Yeah. So what to do if you have spotted someone has physical sign, or maybe you lah, I don't know lah. Okay. So actually you can do some simple blood tests. The simplest one you can do is in your medical report, you always see one, okay, is cholesterol profile. Okay, you take your fasting cholesterol profile, triglyceride to the HDL ratio, and you get the ratio right. 2 to 3 is borderline for insulin resistance. Less than 2 is normal. Above 3 is high risk for insulin resistance. This is a very good screening marker, even though it is not the most accurate one, but it's a very good for screening because everybody do medical report, they also screen for cholesterol one. Yeah. But if you want something more accurate, you can actually check for this one called you can actually check for fasting glucose and fasting insulin level. And then you get the number, and then you put into this formula called HOMA IR formula, and then you get the value. Yeah, you get the value. Sorry. Okay, you get the value. Okay, less than 2 is normal. Okay, more than 2 is suggestive of insulin resistance. Yeah, so this is what you can do if you already suspected you or someone having this. Okay, so what is the problem with insulin resistance? After you listen to me, right, then you look at this picture. Okay, is this picture quite familiar? Familiar, right? Okay, yeah, gaining weight easily here. Okay, skin disorder, yeah, cold limbs and shoulder. Just now, Azura mentioned she was having this problem numbness, cold limbs. Actually, these are all uh, metabolically unhealthy problem. And I think we all have seen this slide, especially when you see purple, you know what is the next. Okay, the product that I'm going to talk about is called Reset. Okay, Reset. It is made of bilberries, black rice, and black currants, and made of two very powerful anthocyanins called cyanidin and delphinidin. But I'm not going to delve very much into the product information. But what I'm going to show you is how powerful uh, is New Skin research, right, making this product called Reset. You know, right, Reset was launched in 2022. During the launch that time, a few markets are actually sold out in just a few minutes. I remember that time, Taiwan, I remember Taiwan and Thailand, even Malaysia, Singapore also sold out in a few minutes to 1 day, 1 day max, sold out. Yeah. So I also remember in 2022, actually um, New Skin get this expert to interview him, and he did a presentation. You know who is this person? He is one of the very renowned endocrinologists in Malaysia. He's called Dr. Saiful Bahari Kasim. Okay, he's a renowned endocrinologist and diabetologist in Malaysia, and he spoke about metabolic health on behalf of New Skin during Reset launch, because they want to increase the public awareness on metabolic health in par with the product launch. So he spoke about metabolic health, and then he educate us what is insulin resistance. Yeah. And he also talked about diabetes pandemic. You see here, 1 in 11 adults has diabetes, in Malaysia. And what is more concerning is 1 in 2 adults with diabetes is undiagnosed. So meaning to say, if 1 in 2 adults with diabetes is undiagnosed, means that more than 50% of the people surrounding you has insulin resistance. Yeah, because insulin resistance is before diabetes, right? And it's true lah. A diabetes which is undiagnosed, is an insulin resistance that is misdiagnosed. Yeah. So it's very powerful. You see the people out there, right, they really need this education. Okay, so what Reset does, Okay, if you really go and read lah, there's this research they did, it will stabilize our blood sugar. Yeah, so after 8 weeks on reset, your sugar become more stabilized and the HbA1c actually drop down. But why I show this slide is because, right, you know, outside there may be many more products talking about how they can improve blood sugar. They can show you testimonial. But I tell you what, there is only one product in the market that can show you this clinical study. It's very, very powerful. Just now, Ashley mentioned, right? New Skin spend at least close to 1 million US dollar per research, and this is what come out in, what you can find in New Skin and their products. Yeah. So people outside, they can only show testimonial, but in New Skin, right, we can show you the actual effect of the product. Yeah. So these are the testimonial of people who has taken a reset and they saw the sugar improvement. Yeah. So meaning to say it helps to improve your metabolic health. Yeah. Glucose improvement. Okay. This lady has diabetes for more than 20 years. And after taking reset, the sugar dropped from 14.2 to 6.3. And because of that, right, she has better energy, the wound recover faster, sleep better. And the other research that I want to show from reset is this regulating fat metabolism. Because just now we talked about, right, if you have insulin resistant, your triglyceride to HDL ratio might be high. Yeah, you see the graph on the right. Okay, so reset is proven to reduce triglyceride. Yeah, after some time of taking, I believe it's 8 weeks here. And through from the microscopic view, they can also see the fat accumulation in the liver also coming down. Yeah. So meaning to say this ingredient, the powerful reset ingredient, right, actually help our body to metabolize better your fat, okay, your sugar, so that you don't go into insulin resistance. Or if you already has diabetes, right, it help to improve your diabetes. Okay, so this lady, okay, after taking reset, the triglyceride drop. Yeah. Okay, the triglyceride drop. Okay. So who needs reset? Okay, after you understand about insulin resistant, there are a lot of hidden one that is still yet to be discovered. Yeah. So who need reset? Actually, only 1 in 8, right, in our population are metabolically healthy. And the rest of them, 7 of them, are not very healthy. Okay. Might have insulin resistant, might have fatty liver, might have PMOS. Okay, so who need reset? Yeah. Insulin resistance is often silent before it turn into type 2 diabetes. So after you knowing this, so everyone need reset. Okay. So after hearing that, I believe I hope you get the message that insulin resistance, right, really need to be tackled. And if not, right, it can become a killer. So I myself am taking reset because, of course, it helps me to solve my constipation. Okay, now I can poo every day. Before this, I poo only every 3 to 4 days. Yeah, some problem. Okay, some problem. But now I feel very good. I poo every day, and I also don't want, right. My when I know about I have poor sugar control or diabetes, only I start taking care because prevention is always better than cure. Yeah, so I believe everyone need reset. So with that, right, I hope today's session benefit you. Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Soon Yee.